at night. I worry over situations. I know we'll be alright. Perhaps it's just imagination. Day after day it reappears. Night after night my heartbeat shows the fear.
Hello, welcome to Overkill. I'm Dan Hong, and I'm in Theresa's normal seat. Actually, I'm not. She's in her normal seat. In front of the Partisan sign, live here from the Partisan, and celebrating Women's Month
Yeah, we get a month. Yay, go us.
in March.
Yeah.
And we're going to do something different. Theresa's interviewed me. She interviewed me on the...
Oh, that's okay. Keep going. No, that's all right. Just keep going.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fine.
no, and go and then explain why Garrett is. Yeah.
So Garrett's running the board today. Yeah.
No, he's not fucking it up.
And
It's cool.
so we're going to turn the tables. The very first episode, Theresa interviewed me, and that was 18 episodes ago. So we're gonna give it a shot today. So my special guest today on Overkill is Theresa Hong.
Hi. Thanks for having me, Dan Hong.
So I guess we'll just have a chit chat about Overkill. It seems very timely. The new Downtown Life magazine just came out, and there was a wonderful article by
Yes.
Brittany Miller, who was your guest last week.
Yeah, I interviewed her last week.
And she wrote a lovely article about you and about Overkill specifically.
Yeah,
And
one of the best quotes ever that she ever did. Yeah. What was it that the first impression of me? It's either admiration or they loathe me, and in a roundabout way. I paraphrase, but it was I could give a fuck about one or the other, which is kind of a cool compliment, I guess. Thanks, Miller. But
Right.
it was a beautifully written article, and I really appreciate it. And yeah, she is going to replace me on the DLM staff. I think she's excellent writer, and I leave her. She's very capable. So
she received the baton last week.
she did receive the baton. Yeah. It takes another load off my plate. So
Yay. So now you only have 4 jobs.
yeah, yeah.
So let's talk about the journey, the Overkill journey. You interviewed me first.
Yes.
We started in the front room. We had no idea what we were doing.
Yeah.
And,
Everybody has to read the article on DLM. It's available right now online, so please go and check it out. If you're on Facebook, all you've got to do is either click me or Dan's profile, or if you're like friends with DLM or fans, just click it and it's there. Because I don't want to take all of the awesome things that Miller wrote about Overkill, but yes, I did. I started, 2012, almost 2 years ago, when I moved back from San Antonio to here, and you were really embedded in the community, and I was really bored. I had been laid off from my job, and I wanted to get to know some of the people that you had been kind of
hanging out
with.
Right.
Yeah. So
we had a long distance relationship. You were in San Antonio and I was here, and
Yes.
we were kind of commuting back and forth, and so I was doing work in the community. I had started working on the Chente talk show.
Yes, and for those that don't know, my 2 younger boys live in San Antonio, so that's why I was back in San Antonio, and they live with their father in San Antonio, and they weren't taken away from me. I'm not a drug addict. I didn't do anything like that. I pursued a career, and so they're in San Antonio with their father right now, and yes, so I was in San Antonio at that time. So go ahead. I just wanted to make that clear.
Yep.
Like, what was she doing in
Yep.
San Antonio? What the hell was she doing?
So we were doing the Chente show. Garrett was in the band. That's how I met Garrett.
Yes.
And you and Chente became friends, and you guys started talking about maybe you doing some sort of a program of your own, and we said, well, this looks like fun, and we did it. We were big fans of podcasting. We followed a bunch of podcasts.
Yeah, I wanted to do a true podcast. Chente had a more of a like
Variety.
a variety-esque type show, which was great. And I think that it served Merced very, very well in the sense of showcasing talent and you know, in little snippets. And giving people an introduction into, you know, theater or bands or, you know, things of that nature that maybe they wouldn't have gotten because of him. So I think that he definitely did fill a void in that. I wanted to do more of a pure podcasting, more of a conversation, more of a kind of drinking show, like how I would talk to somebody normally, you know, at a bar. So that kind of was my vision.
So
of
that was
the
our
podcast.
that was the idea, to have it here at the Partisan and really have it be a conversation with two people sitting at a table having a drink.
Yeah, that's why it was called. That's why it's called Overkill. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So I really wanted it salty and real and not staged and just, you know, I mean, as you could see, just the flub, you know, at the very beginning, it's just like, no, we'll keep it on there. It's cool, you know. I mean, it just that's podcasting. It's cool. I think it's the last, you know.
It's the new frontier.
It's the new frontier, but it's also a really, I think, a true medium, and I'd like to keep it. I hope that doesn't. I hope it never gets slick. You know,
Right.
I don't like it slick.
Right.
I like that conversation. So yeah.
Right, and me as a video producer who came from the old world,
Yes. The old world.
the old ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we used to cut films.
Okay, Fiddler on the Roof. What the fuck are you talking about?
Did I go Tevye there?
You did
That
go
was
a
weird.
little Tevye.
But it's a totally, it's a complete opposite.
Yes.
Podcasting, like you say, is very rough.
It's raw.
Anything could happen. No time frame, no time limits. We don't have to break for commercial at a specific amount of time.
No.
Which reminds me, you need to. No. I'm just kidding.
No, but it's true. But you
and-
can
and-
do stuff like that in the middle.
And the thing that we both admired so much about podcasting is that when you see somebody on the Jay Leno show or Jimmy Fallon or whoever.
No more Jay Leno.
On the Jack Parr show.
I was going to say, Jay Leno is
Yeah.
from the old world.
Yeah,
That's why he
okay.
is no longer on the show. Okay,
But,
go ahead.
But you get to see people through the eyes of their handler.
Yes.
Yeah, basically somebody's prepared 8 to 10 minutes of conversation
Yes.
that
And that's
a
why-
team of 12 people have reviewed and said that it's okay.
Absolutely.
And what happens is, at the very beginning of podcasting, you know, we'll go way back 3 or 4 years when podcasting first started, but I mean, there's been podcasts before then, but when podcasts first started, celebrities would go on shows and they'd have that 10 minutes of material. So the first 10 minutes would be the same crap that you'd heard on every talk
Right.
show, and then they'd run out of material, and then it'd get awkward for about 5 minutes.
Yes.
And then the real whoever they were
Yes.
would come out.
Yes, and that's what enamored me about the whole
Right.
the
Right.
whole medium of
And
podcasting.
it happens here. It happens at this table.
It happens all the time here. It happens all the time
and
here.
I'll throw Matt under the bus.
Matt was brilliant.
Matt Robinson, maybe 3 weeks ago. Was that 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, I
2
think.
weeks ago?
Yeah.
3 weeks. Anyhow, he came on. First 15 minutes were typical Matt.
Yeah.
Very awkward and not a lot of stuff to say. And boy, once he went over the cliff, then it was the Matt that we see when we're out.
Well,
And-
sometimes not even the Matt that you see when you're out.
Right.
Yeah,
So he
yeah.
really came out of his shell. And I've had more than one person tell me that that's the magic of Overkill, is finding the cliff and then pushing them over the cliff. And getting people to get to who the real them is, you know?
Yeah, and that's a big challenge for me. Well, not even a challenge. I don't even want to say challenge. I like making people feel comfortable enough to where that they can share, you know, whatever it is that they want to share. Now, I'm not one of those people that, you know, will put them in an awkward position or tell like their deepest, darkest secret or something like that. That's not what the show is about. The show is just about, you know, okay, two people having a conversation. That's why, you know, and it's in the article too, that, you know, my only rule for Overkill is, you know, I had a couple people on for corporate. And it's just like what you said. They're prepared
stay guarded.
statements,
Yeah.
they're guarded, and it's like I don't want guarded. I want people just to go ahead and completely and totally be themselves. That's really important.
Well, it's the
to
beauty
me.
of meeting somebody out at a bar. You meet somebody brand new, and you're like, there's the awkward, hey, what do you do? And how would I know you? And all those things. And then you get over that, and then you find those areas of commonality, and then you can get into really exciting conversation. And that's what happens here, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's less painful than a first date. I mean, I definitely think it's less painful than a first date. I think that most people get really, really nervous at first. I mean, it's very sweet to me how many people just really get nervous and they ask, they're like, well, what are you going to ask? Well, where's your notebook? Where's this? Where's that? And it's like, I don't have anything. I kind of let the conversation lead to where it's going to lead. And I think that's kind of I think that's why maybe it's so engaging, is because it just kind of goes wherever the conversation takes. They'll say something and they'll say something like completely and totally abstract, like, I don't know, like it's purple or something. They'll say something and I'm like, oh, well, what about this?
Right.
And it just goes on a completely different
You see an
tangent.
alleyway that you can go down, and you guys go down and explore it and then come back.
Yeah. So it's been cool, and I've really, really gotten to know a lot of people doing it, and people that that other people will say, oh, you're not going to get anything out of him, like Matt. Like Joey No-Nos. Even RC, at the very beginning, people were like, oh, God, you're not going to be able to get anything out of him. And, he ended up being my co-host for a little bit and then spun off on his own, which is awesome. But, yeah, and that's what's cool about it, I think, is that, you can push people.
Yeah, and part of that magic of getting past the prepackaged, here's my homogenized life that you can look at, and then here's my real life that I may not let everybody look at. And going to those places, we've really found that listening to podcasts, we really have become endeared with certain people
that
whether they're
I never
celebrities or
ever
whatever.
thought in a million years that I would like. Like, there's a lot of people that, like, if I see them on stage or whatever, because the majority of the podcasts that we listen to are comedians. And a lot of them, you're like, God, that's a fucking cocksucker. I can't stand this person. But then when you see him kind of, Jay Moore, I think, is a perfect example. I think he's a little bit, on his message triangle, talking points going out and doing his show, he's kind of a cocksucker. But on his own show, when he sits there and he talks about some of the stuff that he's been through, because he's been through a lot of shit, which you wouldn't know unless you were listening to his podcast, you're like, God, this guy's pretty fucking cool, and he's been through some shit, and he's handled it really well, and God bless him for for just persevering, which is awesome, and that's one of the things too that I think I try to do. Is there's a fine, I think, balance of kind of being raw and wearing everything on your sleeve and not giving a fuck about what people think, but not giving that air of being an asshole or a douchebag at the same time, and that's one thing too that I think, with the podcast, it kind of gives you that kind of avenue to where somebody could think that, oh wow, that guy's a dick, but then you see that,
yourself.
And then you're like, oh wow, no, this guy's pretty cool, that guy's not, or this
and by the
girl's
same
this,
token,
or this girl's that.
There are certain people that you love,
and then they get on it, and you're like,
you're on
man,
the podcast. That guy only has 10 minutes of material.
He only has, or she
just,
only has 10 minutes of material, and it's all a shtick. And then you're just so disappointed, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
But then you're not going to, you won't pay for a show or whatever next time.
Well, and then hearkening back to the olden days when all the celebrities were prepackaged like that. When there was the studio system with the movie stars, they had handlers, and they were, they only certain photographs could be released of them, and now everybody's got an Instagram. You can basically type in anybody's name into Instagram and see the most personal, intimate details of their life.
Yes, for the younger generation. Because, you still get, it's kind of like the corporate thing on this show. It's funny. I mean, like, Adam Carolla had, the most interesting man in the world on, and you wanted to see, the Dos Equis guy, and you wanted to see, like, behind what was that. And he
He
had
was a
his message triangle.
douchebag.
Well, and he was just fucking dry. And it was just
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, this guy is so fucking
Yeah.
boring. He's an idiot. And he was totally manufactured. And so I think that that's one of the beauties, too, of that, is that it really kind of lets you see the real person. So I like the trend that's happening. And I like the trend that's happening even on, you know, the shows that are kind of scripted, you know, like Jimmy Fallon taking over Jay Leno and stuff like that. It just seems more real and more spontaneous, even if it's not.
Right.
It seems that way. So I'm hoping that that's, you know, where we're kind of going, is that we get that kind of rawness and that realness and that, you know, kind of Instagram-esque, you know.
So
I mean,
is that a better system?
I think it's a much better system. I think it's a much better system.
Do we lose anything by not having manufactured stars anymore?
I don't think that you do at all. I think that, you know, I think it's just all the personalities. I mean, yeah, you know, you have like see, this is what I think, you know, like, I think that, like, let's say some things are manufactured and some things, though, are manufactured, but they just work. Like the Rat Pack. Like, I think everybody in the Rat Pack was fairly real. I think what you see was what you really got. I mean, yeah, you had, like, handlers and stuff, like, going this or that, but, you know, I mean, you really saw kind of that, you know, Sinatra was an asshole, you know, Dean Martin, now he acted like he was a drunk, but he kind of wasn't. But I think people kind of knew that. So, you know, you have this kind of stuff. But as far as the manufactured, like, okay, for example, you know, just like the 90s boy bands or the late 80s boy bands and stuff like that, where you just, you know, hi, I'm this or that or whatever. And, you know, there's just something about it that just, I don't know, it's boring to me.
Right.
It's just completely and totally.
Well, and there's the.
I'd much rather see somebody get real, like Jennifer Lawrence, you know, falling down at the Academy Awards and just making a joke out of it, instead of like a handler coming in and like, oh God, we got to sweep her off and we've got to do this, you know, that kind of thing. You know, I'd much rather see somebody just get fucking just puke ass drunk in the middle of the street, a star or something like that, and take an Instagram of it and, you know, take it, you know, post it, and he or she do it themselves.
Right.
And then you're like, wow, you know what, that person really is kind of just like, I had a weekend like that just last weekend. This is fucking awesome. You know, that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
you didn't have that last weekend.
No, it's been a while. I've been tamed down. But yeah, so I just think it just brings a realness.
Yeah.
And I hope that that's where we continue to go.
Going back to your 90s boy band thing, if you really can't think back to any of those guys that were in any of those bands, except for who? Justin Timberlake.
Well, he broke out.
And it's because he's real.
Right, he broke out.
And he's not afraid to make fun of himself, and he seems like, now he may be a douchebag in real life, but the persona that he brings to when he goes on Saturday Night Live and makes fun of himself.
But I think that's the beauty of social media too, in the sense that now that so many people have access to it and everything is just kind of like, you know, a touch away, that if he really was a douchebag or an asshole, you'd know it.
Right.
You know, you'd know it. And that's another cool thing about this. That's why, you know, and I think, again, it really does have to go with, you know, I mean, it has to go, I think it has to do with the social media. It has to have, to, you know, with the podcast and just being so real and stuff that, you know, you're starting to see these people, you know, like just yesterday, you know, in New York City, John Hamm and Jimmy Fallon were like photobombing all the tourist pictures, and the tourists, you know, they had no idea, but it's hysterical because they're all in the background doing this stuff, and you know, and it's like, wow, that's pretty cool, and that would not happen without this medium, or you know, just this instantaneous and you know, just access of you know, dispersing information, and I think that's a cool thing, you know. So yeah, but hopefully.
So, 18 episodes.
Yes.
Do you have favorite moments?
Favorite moments, God. Yeah, you know, I do have favorite moments. I mean, I loved Joey No-No's coming in and singing, you know, the song that he wrote about his son. Yeah. You know, damn you. I think Chente was like a big thing for me, just because, you know, it was so real, and I loved his, you know, rawness, and just, you know, that's when we had the faggot cunt conversation, which is just awesome. Yeah.
And Chente sort of set the tone for how the rest of the show was going to be, that the real talk was going to be really real.
Yeah, he did. He really, you know, I kind of, he asked me what I wanted, and I just told him that I wanted, you know, the real him, and he brought it, and that did. I think that set the standard as far as how the show was going to go, you know, at that moment. So yeah, I mean, he obviously was a big favorite. You know, RC was huge.
Yeah.
You know, Kazoo was hysterical. Kazoo was the day drunk. Yeah, and you know, and I mean, Miller was awesome. You know, I mean, as she's just so awkwardly charming.
Right.
That she's just really fun to talk to. And Matt, you know, Matt and Ben, you know, I mean, it just, so, I mean, I think all of them are just, you know, it's just so much fun.
Yeah. The last set of shows has been really amazing. It's been very easy, you know, with Garrett helping.
Yeah.
You know, we just come in, we set it up, and we just go.
No,
you
guys are amazing.
There's no ordeal. We're able to get the shows up immediately, which is, it's great because we shoot the shows in the afternoon and they're up by early evening.
Yeah, you guys are amazeballs. You know,
So,
I mean, I've got, I mean, you guys as far as technical crew and stuff is, I mean, I couldn't, you know, people are always amazed, like, oh my God, it's already up, and it's like, it's already up, you know.
Shout out to New Tech for the TriCaster.
Yes.
We happened upon a great situation. The TriCaster fell upon us, and we're using it to good or to evil.
I think it's to good.
Depending on who you talk to. But, you know, it's another one of those things like the cell phone, you know, talking about the instantaneousness of technology and the availability of information.
Yeah, God bless Tim Jennison and Andrew Cross from New Tech. Yeah, for sure.
I remember hearing this guy talk. Man, I don't even know when that was. It had to be in the late 80s or early 90s. And this guy goes, hey, I'm going to build this computer that you can, it's going to be a television station in a computer. And I'm like, yeah, right. Who's going to use that? Well, you know, that's what everybody said about the personal computer, too. Mm-hmm. It's like, who's ever going to want to produce their own TV shows? Mm-hmm. And I was like one of the few people that at that time was in the business and said, well, I do, but you're not going to, and you're not going to. Yeah. And, you know, now look at YouTube. Who'da thunk it?
Andy Warhol, that's who.
Yeah, exactly. And it is really cool that there is a, you know...
and Tim Jennison. Yeah,
we're all working with a group of young people now and trying to put them in a situation where they can do their own productions. Mm-hmm. And it is an amazing time to be able to, you know, it's a great leveler. What I've been telling people is that, you know, even 10 years ago, but very specifically 20 years ago, if all of the people who controlled the information that you read or saw on TV were a very select group of people with a lot of money, you know, that controlled all the information. And now, you know, one specific person with a very minute amount of technology can basically run their own television station. I mean, if you really were determined to get information out, you could use your cell phone and do daily broadcasts.
Yeah, sure you could. But what's happening is all these fucktards are, you know, broadcasting stupid shit, you know. So yeah, no, I totally agree with that. But I think that there still has to be hopefully, you know, there's got to be some sense into it. There's got to be, you know, some rhyme and reason, you know. Not even rhyme or reason. There just has to be some talent, you know. Yeah. So I just kind of look at that and I think, what a great medium. I mean, it's awesome, and I think it's, you know, it's great, but still, you know, yes, you have power and it's awesome, but use it wisely. Yeah. You know, use it to your advantage and use it to everybody else's advantage.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, and I don't think that that's necessarily being conveyed. Right. You know, appropriately. So
people are just starting to understand that they have the power, and they're not understanding that they have the responsibility.
I don't think they even understand that they have the power. I think it's just available, and I think it's just instantaneous, and this is what I'm going to do. You know, okay, I'm going to, you know, broadcast this, or I'm going to go ahead and take a picture of myself naked or whatever and post it, and then they don't understand the ramifications
Hey, I'm
that
sitting
come
right
with
here.
it.
You don't have
So-
to talk about me like that.
Shut up. No. I will say it's kind of funny because, as things have developed, even since we started this, and even since we started, dating and then got married and stuff, the technology has really, really done. And it's kind of funny because there's a monitor like right here where like you can look, and I'm looking at this thing and stuff. And it's so funny because I'm looking at this like from 2 years ago now, and like from now, and I feel like Matthew McConaughey on True Detective, man. Like the age progression, and you just like look at it, and you look at these like HD cameras and the lights and stuff, and I'm like, holy shit, I have like fucking aged like you wouldn't believe.
I look good.
Yeah, you do
Oh
look
no,
good.
I'm looking at you. I'm sorry.
Oh, shut up. No, you do. You look good. No. So before, I always ask Garrett and Dan to put the stripper lights on me. So I'm always like, please soften me up.
Yeah.
Please soften me up. So.
Hence the stripper lights. We have stripper lights
Oh,
now.
we do have stripper lights. We definitely do. But yeah. So anyway. But yeah. So it's been it's been a cool, awesome road, and I've really gotten to know people through the podcast. There are some people that kind of come through and I don't really speak to, but most I would say most I would say we've developed pretty strong relationships, and it's really been a great tool, not only for me, like in a selfish manner to get to know these people, but I think also just for the community to get to know these people and really get to see that, there are some really talented, smart, creative, funny people that are doing really important things in Merced. And that was my goal. And I think that, I am achieving that goal.
Anybody who you haven't had on the show that you would like to?
Let's see. Well, Melissa Eisner was supposed to be on today. She's not on. I would actually. I would love to have. Since March is Women's History. What a month.
It's not Women's History Month.
Fucking month. What is it?
I don't know.
It's woman something. It's woman something.
Is it?
Yeah. No, you think I'm making this up? You think I just pull it out of my ass? No, seriously, there's like a woman something. So I really wanted it to be like women centric. So I want Allison Rush on, for sure. She's on the cover of the DLM magazine, which I noticed that Josh Rivera punked, and I was like, what the fuck are you punking the front cover for, dude? I don't understand. But anyway, if you're watching, Josh, please tell me why. I would like Noelle Chandler, who runs the conservatory over at Playhouse. I'd love her on. I'd love Kat Crippen on. She's the one that does,
Pierced.
my piercings.
Yeah.
And I'd love Little Johnny, and maybe even Sean from Main Street. Just people who are doing things but kind of on the fringe.
Yeah.
Of Merced.
Interesting people that you see all the time that you're like, I wonder what that dude's story is.
Right.
I wonder what that girl does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are tons of people. I don't. There definitely is not a lack. There's not a lack of people that could be on the show. I look all the time, and
we're in no threat of running.
yeah.
out of interesting-
Garrett's running, but the sound and everything else. But I'd love to have him on. There are people here that I would absolutely love. So I don't think that we're ever really gonna necessarily run
So
out.
what's the vision for the future? I know that I kind of know. But,
you know.
But
Yeah.
effitt podcasting.
Yeah,
network.
yeah, it's also in the DLM. Effitt podcasting was really that's something that I think I wanted to do, and I think I kind of pushed you into. You have Ubicocast, and you do wonderfully, beautiful videos and stuff. But I really wanted to do podcasting, and when this kind of got off the ground. And then when RC came to me last year and wanted to be a co-host, I knew then at that point that, okay, we're on to something. And then a couple months back when RC approached you about doing the Mondays, that's when I was like, okay, we have a spinoff. This
Yeah.
is awesome.
Yeah.
So what I would really like is to find interesting people that would like to do their own podcast, and we would produce it under Effitt Productions, and under the umbrella of even the DLM, but mainly Effitt Productions, Effitt podcasting. So yeah, I mean, my overall vision is really to create something that people, around the state of California and beyond will be like, they're doing that in the Central Valley.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Yeah, I just had this conversation.
We're doing that in Merced?
Yeah, I just had this conversation.
Fuck you guys, we're doing it in Merced.
At lunch today.
So,
Is like, that's, there are a lot of little things you can say, oh, what does Dan do? And it's like, well, I do
Right.
this, and I do this.
You do everything.
And I do this, and I do this. But the whole umbrella is to show people that, okay, hey, you can call us the worst city in the United States or whatever.
right.
But I want you to go and do a search on Google or YouTube or whatever, and I want this wealth of amazing things to fall upon you to the point where you're crushed under the weight of how awesome we are
Yeah.
here. And there's an element of a lot of people gave us a certain level of credibility because the UC came here, and it's like, no, we were badass before they came.
Well,
and
I challenge anybody as far as with the UC goes, that what have they brought to this? I'm sorry, I'll say it, and I'll say it loud, and I'll say it proud. What have they brought to the table at this point in time,
Fans are going
besides money, but that they're spending back on UC campus, because they sure as fuck aren't coming down here.
Yeah.
So, fuck all the people as far as saying that kind of stuff until I start seeing results, and until we start seeing, okay, well, they're going to come out and they're going to do, which I think it is. I mean, I know that it will happen eventually, but right now...
It's starting, but it's such a trickle compared to...
The only person that I've interviewed that has come from the UC Merced system is Kazoo.
Kazoo, right.
Kazoo is the one fucking treasure of UC Merced as far as I'm concerned. That's it.
Yeah.
Prove me wrong, come on out, tell me whatever, but yeah, I mean, I think he's the only person that's come out, and he can't get a goddamn job.
Yeah.
So, I feel like, I agree with you. I'm sorry. I had to go on that tangent because I'm very passionate about that, because they come in, the professors are all from other places. They all have their fucking noses up. They all are just, oh, well, we're better than you and we're more educated. And it's like, no, fuck you,
Where's Joey?
fuck
Cue
you.
the song.
Yeah. You're okay. Fuck you, and fuck you most of all. I mean, I feel like that's some bullshit.
Well,
so
yeah, and I understand that.
sorry.
And
I'm not sorry, but sorry for my little that bugs me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's the thing is, I've been here 52 years, and we've been doing cool stuff a long time, and I want. We were at the Wake Up Merced breakfast this morning talking about economic development and how when companies are looking to locate a facility in a town, the first thing they do is they come to town and they look for reasons not to participate.
And why is that?
And so we need to give them as many reasons as possible to go, wow, I'd like to take my 200 employees and have them be part of this amazing community.
I think it's great, and I
think there is a fire that is burning, that is slowly getting bigger, and it's emanating from this downtown area.
Well, I think it is, but I think that I think originally what they thought was, the golden fucking ticket in the Wonka bar was going to be UC Merced,
Yeah,
and
they
it's
were
not.
just going to come in and
And it's
every
not.
business
It's
was
not.
going to quadruple their business the first
I
year.
think it's the downtown. I think that I
That's
think
the
that
treasure.
That's
the treasure.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
And it's arts and entertainment based.
Yes.
At least at this point,
Well,
put food in that as well.
Arts and entertainment, but I think that there's some activism involved. I think there's, I think that, it's a proven fact, a vibrant downtown is good for the city in general. And if we can continue to create a vibrant downtown, then everything else will follow, and I think that we're doing it, and I'm really proud of being a part of this community, and being able to come into this community fairly, being a newbie, and integrating myself, and getting to know all of these wonderful people, which is that's what Overkill's all about. So it's awesome. Love it.
So the network, is there plans on being more
Absolutely.
podcasts?
Yeah. No. We have.
RC's the Mondays.
We have
I
the
think
Mondays.
We launched the first episode of the Mondays this Monday.
Not last Monday, but the Monday before. This Monday coming up is going to be Joey No-Nos and Allison Rush, which is going to be fantastic. I think that I'm getting these group texts, and I don't. Joel Scott Shade and Rob Hypes, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Joel, stop texting.
And like he's gonna watch this.
He has a smartphone now.
No, he's not gonna watch it. But yeah, so that's coming up on Monday. There's Nat here. That's coming up on Monday, which is awesome. As far as the other, opportunities, really the sky's the limit. I'm just looking for people that can carry their own. It could be kind of the same format of show that I'm doing. I know that, you've been talking about a variety show, which I don't see a variety show with like a typical host and that kind of thing. If we're going to do something like that, I see more of like a Portlandia or a Saturday Night Live or something like that, to where it would be, just that kind of a vibe. But not lose that podcast feel,
right.
So it's I would absolutely love it if, people, God, bring me your ideas, bring, their ideas, that kind of thing. I think that there are so many talented people here with so much to offer that we could most definitely have, 8 to 10 different podcasts on, that showcase different elements of Merced.
Within the scope of what we're working on, we're getting ready to start doing live sporting events.
Yes.
And we're going to stream some live high school events to start. But we're also going to do a weekly sort of sports wrap-up, kind of like an ESPN style, with
which I
three
think is
guys
fantastic.
talking about what happened this week in sports.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic, and I think that's a whole different demographic that you're reaching.
Right. Right.
Because most of the people that watch Overkill won't watch that, so you're going to be getting a different, demographic. So, yeah, I think the more the merrier, but it's just a matter of, does it fit or does it not?
Right.
And,
And we're talking about, like you were saying, a sketch comedy, sort of Saturday Night Live-esque kind of a show.
more Portlandia, I think, but yeah.
Well, that's a little bit more episodic comedy, which, there's definitely enough talented people in town to start doing things like that. So, but we're looking at what the low-hanging fruit is right now, and to build on that.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you think? Is that
You're
it?
going to ask me any more questions? You're the host.
Wow.
See, it's a lot harder than what you think. Damn it. No, I'm kidding. It's really not. No, whatever. If you want to wrap up, you're the host today, not me.
I have another 45 minutes worth of material, so.
Your material, or?
Yeah. So you can go on. I'm gonna take a solo. I'm gonna take a solo spin at this. Yeah.
Okay, you do that.
Try out some standout.
You do that.
No, I think we can wrap it up there. We'll reconvene this meeting again in another 18 episodes and see
18 episodes.
See who and what we've done along the way.
Man, and then I'll really be looking like Matthew McConaughey, but okay, from True Detective. God,
we have the mustache and the
long scraggly
and
hair.
5 Lone Star
I'll have
beers.
my 5 Lone Star beers with the
and will you
the
cut
people.
cut them up with your knife, with your buck knife?
Oh yeah, I will. I don't need a knife. I just use my bare hands.
There's another show that we started talking about doing doing TV reviews.
Yes.
Because there's some violent fans of 3 or 4 different shows that we watch.
Yeah.
Walking Dead, obviously.
Yeah.
We could do a local version of what Chris Hardwick does with the Talking Dead.
Yeah, Talking Dead, and best drinking game ever. Best fucking drinking game ever. You'll never ever get drunk. You'll never get drunk, I promise you. Every time you see an African American fucking zombie take a drink, you won't see a black zombie anywhere.
You will.
GB, that's for you. You will not see, because they were like, when the shit started hitting the fan, they went, we're getting the fuck out of here, and they just left. They left.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're on a cruise ship somewhere
In the 3 seasons, you will have had 2 shots.
in the middle of the ocean, and they're like drawing the short straws to see who's going up on shore
To get food.
To get food. That's where all where all the black folks are. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, but no, that would be awesome. I'd love to do a TV show thing because True Detective, awesome. Walking Dead, awesome. Mad Men, awesome. You know, there are a few that I really. Hannibal, yeah, awesome. I've never seen human flesh cooked so good. You know,
Right.
and I'm a vegan.
Right, he made ossobuco last night out of a guy's shin.
Out of a guy's leg.
Yeah. And he cut it, and he's like breading it and putting a little pepper on it, and you're like, God, that kind of looks
Braising
good.
it.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's disgusting. But
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, yeah. So yeah, no, I would absolutely love to do that. But then I'd be a host of another show, and people would get tired of seeing my face. So.
Girl, you got 5 jobs. You are so lazy. You need to get another job.
Yeah, no, I really don't. I don't. I'm good. I'm good with the jobs.
Great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, it's been a blast. It was a privilege.
A blast.
It's
been a blast.
It was a privilege having you as my guest today on Overkill.
Thank you, Dan
So-
Hong.
Neither of us smokes, but in RC's
I
honor.
know. This is my first drink that I've had since I quit smoking because I was afraid that I could not handle it. So this is kind of a celebration within a celebration. So yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
So in RC's honor,
And
let's go have a cigarette.
Go have a
and
cigarette.
Not have a cigarette.
Suck a
And
bag
if
of dicks.
If
No.
you can cue the second
Kidding.
DDR and hit F.
Love you, Kendrick and Cameron.
I love you too.
Mwah. All right. Fantastic. Good job, Garrett.